Friends, in this presentation we shall discuss about Export Inspection Council, agencies and quality. We welcome you to this project of learning export and import trade. Enjoy learning. Thanks. The Export Inspection Council (EIC) was set up by the Government of India under Section 3 of the Export Quality Control and Inspection Act 1963 in order to ensure sound development of export trade of India through quality control and inspection and for matters connected thereof. EIC is an advisory body to the central government which is empowered under the Act to notify commodities which will be subject to quality control and or inspection prior to the export, establish standards of quality for such notified commodities and specify the type of quality control and or inspection to be applied to such commodities. Certification of a quality of export commodities through installation of quality assurance systems, in-process quality control and self-certification in the exporting units as well as consignment-wise inspection. Certificate of quality of food items for export through installation of food safety management system in the food processing units. Issue of certificates of origin to exporters under various preferential tariff schemes for export products. There are about 40 sub-offices under Export Inspection Council, actively involved in pre-shipment inspection, quality control and certification with many laboratories countrywide. They are engaged in consignment-wise inspection, in-process quality control and self-certification scheme. GSP Certificate of Origin. Generalized System of Preferences (GSP) is a preferential tariff system extended by developed countries, also known as preference giving countries or donor countries, to the developing countries, also known as preference receiving countries or beneficiary countries. It involves reduced MFN tariffs or duty-free entry of eligible products exported by beneficiary countries to the markets of donor countries. Benefits of GSP. Indian exporters benefit indirectly through the benefit that accrues to the importer by way of reduced tariff or duty-free entry of eligible Indian products. Reduction or removal of import duty on an Indian product makes it more competitive to the importer. Other things, for example quality, being equal. This tariff preference helps new exporters to penetrate a market and established exporters to increase their market share and to improve upon the profit margins in the donor country. Here is a table of the countries which extend GSP benefits. GSP is presently extended by 29 developed countries. In addition, it is understood that Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Lithuania and Ukraine may also be allowing preferential unit traffic treatment to select Indian goods. Documents required for issuing GSP certificates are as follows. GSP Form A in quadruplicate as per proforma given by Export Inspection Agency. Copy of the invoice. Copy of packing list. Working sheet stating separately direct cost, indirect cost, overheads, etc. EUR certificate in case imports are from European Community and exports to European Community. Copy of bill of entry for the imported raw materials used in the consignment. Demand draft for rupees 100 per GSP certificate drawn in favor of DC MEPZ for Madhya Pradesh. Sometimes the importer appoints an inspection agency who certify that cargo is in accordance with the sample provided or specs provided by the buyer. In some cases, the buying house quality inspectors does this job. The buyers may make such certificate essential document in documentary credit, contract or in purchase order. Some quarantine requirement for export to Australia and implications are as follows. It gives an idea of risk and losses which can happen for non-compliance. All material in consignment must be labeled with full botanical names, for example, genus and species. Each package must be labeled. Alternatively, if the goods are easily identifiable, then there is no requirement of the botanical nomenclature. All material in the consignment must be thoroughly dried and not capable of propagation. Each consignment will be subject to an inspection to verify that it is free of prohibited seeds, bark, live insects, soil and other quarantine risk material. If the consignment does not meet the above conditions, it will be treated as detailed in the commercial conditions below, or re-exported or destroyed. Consignments that are not adequately labeled will be held under quarantine pending identification at the importer's expense. All material in the consignment must be thoroughly dried and not capable of propagation, free from seed unless the seed is a listed permitted species as seeds for sowing, and free from other quarantine risk material prior to arrival in Australia. Containers, timber packing, pallets or dunnage. Dunnage bags, also known as air bags, air cushions and inflatable bags, are used to secure and stabilize the cargo. This was introduced around 1970. Dunnage bags provide convenient and cost-effective cargo stabilization. Associated with the consignment will be subject to inspection and treatment on arrival, unless certified as having been treated by a Department of Agriculture approved method. Please refer to the Department of Agriculture publication Cargo Containers, Quarantine Aspects and Procedures. All consignments require a full unpack and inspection at a quarantine approved premises to verify that material is commercially packaged in clean packages, labeled, dried and is free of other quarantine risk material. All fruit is to be inspected for the presence of seed. Fruit containing prohibited or restricted seeds will be ordered for moist heat treatment, gamma irradiation, re-export or destruction at the importer expense. Plant parts which are not sufficiently broken into pieces to allow a thorough inspection are subject to mandatory treatment by fumigation with methyl bromide, heat treatment or cold storage prior to release. Product which is powdered, grounded or sufficiently broken into pieces so that there is no areas which could hide live insects or larvae may be released after inspection. All bark is subject to mandatory heat treatment, gamma irradiation, re-export or destruction at the importer's expense. After inspection, all consignments that meet the above conditions will be released from quarantine. If soil is found on inspection, the consignment will be subject to physical removal of contamination under Department of Agriculture supervision or autoclaving, fumigation with ethylene oxide, gamma irradiation at 50K gray, re-export of or destruction at the importer's expense. If feces and or animal material is found on inspection and imported goods are for human consumption, the consignment must be re-exported or destroyed at the importer's expense. If the consignment is not imported for human consumption, contact Department of Agriculture plant programs for advice. If live insects are found during the inspection, they will be identified by Department of Agriculture entomologist and consignment will be treated with methyl bromide fumigation or cold storage unless khapra beetle is identified. If khapra beetle is identified, the consignment will be fumigated with methyl bromide at the khapra beetle rate. Treatment for live insects will be carried out prior to any other treatment that may be required. Treatments will be carried out at the importer's expense. The Australian Pesticide and Veterinary Medicines Authority regulate ethylene oxide residues and may limit use on commodities that have direct contact with human skin. For information to determine if this treatment option is available for the community of import, refer to the APVMA website. Thanks.